Ramblers. It's your host, Natalie, and I'm so excited to share episode 3 with you all. I did want to make sure I disclosed our trigger warnings for anyone who might be affected. In my section on ancient Egypt, there will be mention of rape, domestic violence, torture, and death of adults and children. In Justin's last section on crime statistics, there is mention of weapons and descriptions of murder. If you are affected by any of these topics, please feel free to skip through using our timestamps. Thank you for listening, and we'll now get back to your regularly scheduled programming. Hello, welcome to the Midnight Ramblers, episode 3. I'm your host, Natalie.
I'm Justin.
And I'm Mac.
And we're very excited to bring you guys a new episode. Our theme is criminal activity.
Crazy. Drama. You can tell we like the drama.
Yeah, we love the drama. That's what we live for. And good news, we got our new sound equipment.
Yeah.
We're all very excited about it.
Very excited and very tired of it. I'm just kidding.
Yes. Hopefully our voices sound nice and clear. It is probably going to take a little getting used to talking straight into the mic, so excuse us if we do have any mishaps. I'm sure that will happen. In fact, we were originally supposed to record at 1 o'clock today. It is now 6 p.m. So it's definitely been a bit of a struggle. Our technician over here, Justin, was amazing, and pretty much it was all him sitting down for like 5 hours figuring it out.
When you were two.
Yeah.
It's definitely a team effort from these two over here. I don't know anything about sound and equipment, so.
Yeah. Originally, we were supposed to record this episode like last week or the week before.
I feel like it was 2 weeks ago. And then we said we were going to do it last week, and then that didn't happen either. And then.
Yeah. When we were originally recording it, again, things weren't working. And so I spent like 2 or 3 hours on the couch with these two, just being really good sports and just trying to figure things out. But we finally figured things out. So that's the moral of the story. Just keep on working at stuff and you'll eventually find a way.
Never give up.
Never give up.
Never say never.
That's great.
I
know. We have some great stuff for today. We have Reddit stories and some crazy history and some fresh, like, modern day, really enlightened statistics, politics, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, we're going to get started. I think Maya, I said you'll go first?
Yeah, I can start.
Awesome.
And I guess we'll just go right into it. All right, so I found this post on Reddit. It's not a story, but somebody had posted a question. I don't know how Reddit works, to be quite honest, but somebody had posted a question on Ask Reddit. The question was, what is something legal that should totally be 100% illegal? And this was posted about a month ago. So I'm going to tell you guys what some of the comments were on what things should be illegal.
Okay.
And some of them are funny because we have literally been talking about some of these like just recently. All right, so this post is on r/Ask Reddit, and the user is u/SuperKevinGuru. It was posted about a month ago, and the question says, what is something legal that should totally be 100% illegal? And so I'm going to read you some of the comments that were listed below, and some of them are really funny because we had just recently been talking about some of these, and I think we'll probably agree with some of them. So someone named Alan Mizzy posted a month ago, and they commented, it should be illegal to take longer or more effort to unsubscribe from something than to subscribe. So that was one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I don't know about you guys, but I have recently been struggling with Bumble because when I had Bumble last year, I accidentally, I think, swiped left on somebody that I didn't mean to swipe left, or I swiped right on somebody, and the only way to take it back was to get the subscription. And I don't know, in my mind at the time, it was worth it, so I paid for the $7.99 subscription. I was like, and then I'll cancel it. But then at the same time, I decided I was going to delete Bumble, like, within the next couple of weeks, so I deleted it. And I created a new account. But then my new account was like, oh, we see that you used to have an existing account with this number. Would you like to merge accounts? And so I did. But the thing is, like, my Bumble subscription isn't the same. It's not on my new account, but Apple and Bumble are still charging me for the one that was on my old account, because now it looks like my account is still active because I merged my accounts, but they don't have the premium for me. So,
That's
and
uncool.
I tried to unsubscribe from it, even though like Apple will send me a bill for it. When I go to go like unsubscribe, because there's like a place where you can unsubscribe within the Apple store. When I go there, it says you aren't paying for a subscription, and I'm like, but you sent me a bill. So anyway, so I'm just feeling that one right now.
I totally agree with that one.
Yeah.
I think like Adobe, I think Adobe's great. I hate that you have to do subscription for it and it's super expensive. But every time you try to cancel your subscription, it'll be like you either need to pay for the rest of your year or you can stay on for another 3 months for free. And you're like, well, obviously I don't want to pay for the rest of my subscription if I'm not even going to use it in the first place. Yeah. It should quite literally just be, I don't like my service anymore. I want to stop right now.
Yeah.
I don't understand why.
Why is that
if
so
you
hard?
Want to quit, you have to pay for all the stuff that you're not using it anymore. Why do I have to pay?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. So
if you don't want something, you don't want it.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. So then another comment that was posted by Kawaii8171 says, colleges/universities charging you money to access your official school transcripts.
Wait, does that happen?
Yes. I get so annoyed because, I mean, I don't know. You guys might not have to do this, but I have to do it all the time because I'll need to send my transcripts over for jobs. And like when I had to like go to, grad school and all these different things that I had to send transcripts in for, I have to send them every time. And I have to send them sometimes to like community colleges when I'm trying to take summer classes. It's such a disaster because it's a state law or a federal law or something where you're allowed to get 3 free transcripts sent to you or somebody else. But then after that, you have to start paying.
How much?
It depends. I don't know why it depends, but sometimes it's $10, sometimes it's $15 a transcript. Yeah.
You can't just like send it to you digitally and print it out for free. I mean,
you can send it to you digitally, and I have it digitally now.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, like my transcript kept changing, and sometimes like when I applied for grad school, they wouldn't take me sending them my official transcript. They needed it from the school or the third party transcript.
That should be free. That should be free.
Well, somebody else comments that like the reason, I mean, it's a really long post, but they try to like not justify it, but they explain it and they say like, it's expensive, and they say that if you go to the school, they can print it out for you for free. But if you do it online, you're paying for the services and all blah 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 blah. And I'm like,
what
I mean,
services?
Yeah, because there's like a third party service that like Parchment, which is usually the one that I've experienced the most, is Parchment, and them providing the service is the charge that is being billed to you, and it's not the school charging you, it's the third party service.
This is crazy.
But I don't get it because it's just like, it's just a piece of paper. It's my education, and I already paid for my education. I should have complete access to that.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of like those debit card fees that you'll sometimes see. But I think it's so interesting how a debit card fee is like 30 cents, but a transcript is $15.
Capitalism.
Yeah. And actually somebody else says that on here too. They talk about how, well, let me try to find it.
Yes, continue.
Because somebody else says, well, I'll get to it because let me go in order because I'm going to miss some stuff. Okay, somebody else, Deliro comments, sirens in radio commercials.
Oh,
which I would like to add music as well.
It always trips me up. I hear it a lot when I'm driving with you, and I'm always like, where's the ambulance? And then I get really frustrated because I'm like, that should not be allowed.
Yeah. Like, and I feel like it's getting more and more common. And then somebody else comments below this saying like sirens, horn honking, tire screeching, all of those things, or a ringing phone. Well, I don't really have a problem with the ringing phone that much, but yeah, those I'm like, those should not I mean, yeah, because then you think it's a siren, and everyone listens to music on their way to work in the car all the time. It's confusing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. That's a good one.
Yeah, because then it becomes a safety issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. Here's a funny one. Okay. Someone else, underscore the law, says websites that deliberately load large ads at the top of the website slower than the rest of the content, so that the very second you're about to press something, for example, in the menu bar at the top, the entire structure and contest, I don't think they meant that. I think context of the web, or content is probably what they meant to say. Content of the website moves down, making you, in air quotes, accidentally hit the ad just loaded instead.
Dude, these are all great ones. Because
illegal, I mean, maybe that's a stretch, but like, I mean, that's definitely a scam. Like, they do that on purpose.
Yeah.
Super annoying. Another one, I mean, so many people were saying robocalls, which is, I mean, I think everyone thinks those should be illegal. Somebody else says Diego underscore G310 says Congress being able to own stocks while passing our laws to benefit their portfolios.
100%.
And then somebody also comments on that saying, and their spouses, which is so true. I was just reading an article about how there was a congressman who he didn't, after hearing about information in the committee he was in, there was some legal action that was going to be taken against a certain company, and he had stocks in that company. And so he didn't take the stocks out. He didn't sell them. He told his wife to. And so I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
And their spouses.
And
there's all these, people who say, oh, but there's limitations, like there's laws that limit their pet. But I also just read a New York Times article that specifically said, like, yeah, there are laws, but there aren't as many limitations as you would think there would be.
Yeah, it's obviously not enough.
Yeah.
And just to add, term limits. We need term limits. 100%. I don't understand why that's not illegal.
I don't understand. Yeah. Another one, Kane by 6310 says convenience fees for paying taxes and bills online.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I totally agree. It's super annoying. Like when I was in college, I went from one credit card to another, or one debit card to another, whatever it was. And the way I was paying my rent was through one card. But then by the time I needed to switch to my new card, it said it would cost me like $20 or $30 or something to like add a new card. And
that's not right.
Yeah. And I hate that.
Oh my God, that is so
it's
crazy.
like, oh, so you don't want my money then?
Wow. Oh, they want it. They just want like 20 to 30 more dollars.
More.
Yeah. What the heck?
So true. Yeah. Anyways, other people said puppy mills, which, yeah. And then I looked it up because I was like, that's not illegal. And there's laws in certain states like California that either make it illegal or make it very difficult for people to run puppy mills. But there are so many states. Most states don't have any laws against puppy mills.
That is so crazy.
Yeah. Very sad.
Adopt, guys. Adopt.
Yeah. Adopt, don't shop.
We got Jenny from the San Diego Humane Society, and she's the best little pup. She's a little troublemaker sometimes, but she's wonderful.
Oh, here's one. Okay, and we were just talking about this one. So sleepy underscore potato 21 says bright ass LED light headlights.
Oh my gosh. Yes, we were just talking about this.
Yeah, we were.
I hate it. There was literally one time, I kid you not, I was on my way home from work, and this is when I was working at the yogurt shop. And I was at a stoplight, and this truck or some kind of car obviously could not tell because the LED lights were so bright that it was hurting my eyes, and I couldn't see anything out of my mirrors. So I literally held my hand up to the mirror to block it, and like a few seconds later, the person turned their light down.
Oh.
Because they obviously saw that it was bothering
me.
Like, guys, please fix that. If you have like huge LED lights or you are accidentally turning on your brights, please stop, because it's annoying and it hurts my eyes and it's dangerous.
Yeah, that's straight dumb. Some people commented things that I didn't even know were problems or existed, and I should definitely look more into. But someone said child beauty pageants. Someone said, hospitals charging for the staff to park there. I'm a nurse and I pay for parking permits to be able to work. It's extortionate.
Dude, okay. I 100% agree with this. No workplace should you have to pay for parking.
Yeah.
I worked at a mall last year or the year before, and I had to pay for parking in the parking structure. That's ridiculous. And the richer companies, or the companies that were nice, would pay for their employees' parking pass. And even though where I worked, I don't know if I can say their name, but they make a lot of money, they didn't pay for our parking spaces. So I literally had to pay this huge fee and just to get a pass. It was so stupid. Yeah.
If you work there, I mean, you're whatever company or shop or store that you're working for needs you to be there. So I don't understand why you would have to pay to. Yeah,
it doesn't.
I don't think it's right.
No, it doesn't make sense, especially if you own it. You know, it's one thing. You know, I don't think it's necessarily great, but well, like for example, the place I work at now, they're great. They pay for my parking pass, and they don't own that parking structure. They make a deal with the parking structure people, and that's it. At the mall, they own that parking lot, so there's really no excuse.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, the whole point of getting a job is to make money, and what you have to pay to
spend a fourth on your pay. Send a fourth of your paycheck on parking. That's absolutely ridiculous.
It's dumb. Okay, there's a lot of comments on here, but those were the main ones that I wanted to bring up. But there is one more that I would like to share because it comes with a story. So this one was a comment by Lonosit 475. The state some people leave public bathrooms in should somehow be illegal. I mean, whoever is wiping shit on the wall should at least be fined. Anyway, so there was a comment to this comment by Daniel in the Membrane. He gives a little story and a little anecdote to go with the public bathroom comment. So, a friend of mine, an airline pilot, was on his way to work. Before he got through security, he felt a little funky.
Oh no.
So he popped into the bathroom.
I was like, already?
I jumped the gun because I know what this story is about. And I thought it was another typo. Excuse me. He popped into the bathroom. He managed to get his rolling bag in the stall with him, and he was standing at a 90-degree angle to the toilet. That's when his brain informed him that he would be taking a shit in the next 30 seconds. He was clamping his ass together with all his might. He thought, okay, I can do this. All I have to do is get my pants down and sit on the toilet. This he did, seemingly successfully. He was relieved to be sitting and painting the bowl, his words, when he noticed that he was sitting in shit.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
He also noticed that he had shit on the back of his legs and in his pants. He couldn't figure out what was going on until he looked to his left, and there was a perfect arc of diarrhea on the wall. Evidently, when he relaxed his iron-tight clench to pull down his pants and turned to sit. I'm sorry. Evidently, when he relaxed his iron-tight clench to pull down his pants and turned to sit, he had created a sort of shit jet. Kind of like putting your thumb over the hose to increase the pressure. Now he was in a bit of a pickle. He decides to sacrifice some undershirts and clean himself up enough to put on his jeans and get back to his car. Cleaning the bathroom was not in the cards. He was feeling pretty terrible and didn't have the supplies one would need for such a task. He made his way to the sink and was washing his hands when a well-dressed older black gentleman came into the bathroom. The older gent walked to the stall, opened the door, and said, "Oh my lord. I'd always wondered why people shit on walls. Now I have closure."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I definitely, sometimes I'm like, this person obviously had a bad day, but there are other times where I'm like, how did this happen? There was one girl I lived with my freshman year of college in my suite. We had one girl
who always put her used pads on the floor. She never threw them away. They weren't even rolled up in a ball to like hide anything.
Disgusting.
She just literally put them all on the floor. And some of the girls started writing notes in the bathroom that said, "Don't put your pads on the floor. It's disgusting." So, anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
I
gross.
can understand that sentiment.
I'm a woman and I can say that that is gross.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that pretty much sums up the post that I had found.
I love
on
it.
What is something legal that should totally be 100% legal?
That is-
Illegal. I keep saying I can't read today.
Maya makes mistakes today.
Speaking is hard.
Well, I absolutely loved that. I think that was
I'm
a
glad.
good one.
I'm
Great for
glad.
conversation, even though Justin was pretty quiet the whole time.
I know. I was
That
like,
story
aren't
was
you gonna say-"
hilarious.
Yeah, now you say it. I was waiting for you to say something about the other things, like the headlights. We were just talking about that the other day.
I mean, there wasn't much to say. I feel like Natalie was saying all the words that needed to be said.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, Justin has prepared something amazing for us.
Okay,
Ready.
so I wanted to discuss how homelessness has been made illegal in modern day America. Now, there's no laws that say, "Oh, you're homeless, that's illegal." But it's the actions and the things that homeless people do specifically that have been, whether intentionally or not intentionally, targeted as citable offenses. So, just to start, one of the laws that could be construed as making homelessness illegal is going to be encroaching on a public right-of-way.
Mm-hmm.
Is this state or federal laws?
Mainly, we're going to be talking about city and state laws.
Oh, I see. Okay.
This law in particular, I think, is the San Diego law.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
About encroaching on a public right-of-way.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in simple speak, this law says that you can't have too much stuff on a public walkway, like a sidewalk. So if you have a shopping cart, for example, full of stuff, and you're on the sidewalk with it, you are encroaching on a public right-of-way. So they haven't made homelessness illegal, but that's just one of the laws that makes it seem like being homeless is illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, you have a cop come up and he's like, "Hey, you can't do that. You can't have a bunch of stuff on the sidewalk." What's he going to do? Like, it's either get arrested or leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're
You can't-
constantly having to move from place to place.
Yeah, the cracking down of these laws pushes homeless people to other neighborhoods or even areas that aren't commonly inhabited. But when you move them to these places, they have even less access to the services that they need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was reading an article from the San Diego Union Tribune that was talking about a study of 187 cities that, and they said 33% of them prohibited camping in public, which, I mean, most of these laws, you can kind of see how they'd be targeted towards the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
50% of those cities prohibited camping in particular places, not just public, and 18% flat out prohibited sleeping in public. 47% prohibited sitting and laying down in public.
Wow.
Sitting and lying down in public.
See, and that's where you know that they're targeting homeless people because, I mean, you go to a public park and you lie down, you sleep, and you're telling me a cop could come up and be like, "Hey, wake up,
They
or
would
I'm going to
definitely-
arrest you."
They would
And
definitely be
they wouldn't do
profiling.
that.
They
Yeah.
would be profiling for sure. Because I bet you if I was at a park and I was laying down, no cop would come up to me and be like, "Hey, that's illegal."
Right.
Like if you were at a park and you were just sitting
Yeah.
at the park, yeah,
Not a problem.
not a problem. Unless they want it to be a problem.
I don't know if you know this, but are these California cities?
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
But it's from the San Diego Tribune, you said?
Mhm. And then 61% prohibit panhandling in certain public places, which obvious targeting, but how you feel about panhandling is up to you. There's also many laws about being at public parks at specific times. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a park or public area that says after sunset, get out,
Yeah, I've seen those.
which it's a public space that, you can only imagine someone might try to sleep there.
Right.
It gets even deeper because being homeless can also include living out of your car, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, at least I have a car. At least I can separate myself,
Yeah.
right? Unless you're in Los Angeles, where sleeping in your car is completely prohibited.
That's so crazy.
Wow. In LA, where the homeless.
Yes.
Wow.
So there's laws against being able to sleep in your car, and if you're and in other places, if you're living out of your car, you do not have money to be spending on a place to park your car.
Yeah.
So large amounts of rules to stop people from being able to park their vehicle during specific hours of the night or for specified periods of time. Limiting parking to 4 hours in one area is really going to ruin somebody's sleep if they need to park for free.
Wow.
That's irritating because it's like, I mean, like homelessness is such a huge issue, especially right now, and in San Diego and LA specifically, but this is showing me that there's so much more that I need to learn about it, because now I'm wondering when they created these laws or any programs put in place to what's the word?
Now they do have some programs, and I'm going to actually, talk about a little something that one of those people said.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Because I have
Because
a
I'm
thing
like,
to add to that.
where are these people gonna go? You can make all these rules, you can make all these laws, but what are you expecting from these people who, LA's their home, San Diego's their home, and I mean, they don't just disappear.
Yeah.
They don't just disappear. Sorry.
Now, I also want to throw out a Carlsbad law.
Okay.
So, Carlsbad has laws against offering food to people
Oh no.
Oh my
Without a
God.
permit.
Without a permit? Oh.
without a permit. So,
No.
you would need a permit, technically, to feed the homeless.
What kind of permit is that?
It's probably a health and safety permit for making sure the food is safe.
Like
Like a business permit, kind of.
So they're putting it under the facade that they're protecting the
health.
receiver
Yes.
of the food.
Yes. Now,
You're gonna poison me.
the deputy city attorney, her name is I might mess up. Marissa Kowecki said that those laws are not enforced. Like no one has gone through the trouble of getting rid of the law, but is saying that law is, not enforced.
Yeah, but it's there.
I thought that's there in the first place. When was this law established? Do you
I
know?
have no idea. Now, so there is the San Diego Police Department Homeless Outreach Team.
Mm-hmm.
This is headed by San Diego Police Captain Scott Wall, and he knows that enforcement is not a viable solution for ending homelessness. But he believes that citations and even arrests for the homeless can have a positive effect on some homeless people by spurring them to change their behavior.
Oh, I hate that.
Now, these behaviors that they're targeting are typically sleeping, so hopefully they can change that behavior. Because obviously, sitting and lying down, I hope they also change those behaviors. Receiving food
What?
without a permit. Well, maybe not the homeless, but maybe a change in behavior for the people who are offering them food without permits. So hopefully they change their behaviors too. And sleeping in your car yeah, I hope they change that behavior as well.
That's horrible. Because that's so hypocritical.
Yeah.
It's like saying, like, oh, we know this isn't a viable solution to
But we're gonna do it
solving these
anyway.
problems, but it's gonna change their behavior.
But yeah, so that's really most of what I prepared. But it's interesting how the person who is in charge of this homeless outreach team isn't afraid to say that they have faith in the laws to discourage people from being homeless. Now, when it comes down to it, you're not going to end homelessness by making it illegal.
No.
You can't do it that way. And it's baffling that he thinks that making it illegal is giving anyone the motivation to stop themselves from doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
No one is intentionally trying to be homeless.
And then you're
Being
giving
homeless
them-
isn't a bad habit that you can just change the behavior and all of a sudden you can just work toward a new habit. No.
And it's honestly going to make things worse because you're now giving them a criminal record, which will make it harder for them
I didn't
to
think about
get
that.
jobs.
That's so true.
They'll just feel like they don't stand a chance. That's part of the problem, people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. And you said he heads up the San Diego
Homeless outreach
homeless
team.
outreach team.
Mm-hmm.
What does that entail? Does it say at all?
I didn't look too deep into it, if I'm being honest.
I would be curious to know what the homeless outreach team does. Like,
Well, I do have something interesting that I learned in one of my college classes. And I'm sure if this city has it, that there are multiple cities. But I learned there's a city in San Diego. They have a homeless outreach program in their library. It's down in the basement. And there are no signs directing people to it.
in a library?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's in a library where there's all kinds of programs and resources like rec stuff for kids and, community things like that. And there is a homeless outreach program and it's downstairs in the basement. Again, no one knows where that is. It's not labeled. How are people going to get there?
Yeah.
If you really want to change the homeless issue, you really need to make it clear that that everyone has an option. You can't just put it online either, people. Like, make it accessible.
And that they're welcome.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to, reach out to these programs if they feel like they're not welcome to be a part of the community or part of the city? Like, they feel like their city doesn't want them, that they just want them out. Nobody wants to feel that way. Well, that was very enlightening.
Yeah.
Gave me a lot to think about. I feel very passionate about the subject and learning more.
Yeah. There was a great story. I was with my grandparents. Hello, Nana and Papa. I was watching the news with them, and there was this interesting story of this guy who I'm pretty sure it was in San Diego. Could have been LA, but I'm pretty sure it's San Diego. Who built this little mobile home that he takes everywhere with him. It's like on like a few dollies or something, and it has everything that he needs to live in it. It's just literally, it's tinier than a tiny home, and he just takes it around with him. And there's like a lot of controversy going on, or there was a lot of controversy going on, and I haven't looked him up since. It's been a few months, but I hope he's doing okay. I thought that was really clever and very resourceful.
Was he in San Diego or
Yeah.
somewhere else?
Yeah, he moves from place to place in San Diego, because
That's awesome.
people tell him to move or whatever. But yeah, I thought that he was so cool, and he was so nice, and really intelligent, and his stories were just so interesting that I don't know. I was like, yeah, man.
I'm gonna
You
keep an
do
eye
your
out for
thing.
this dude.
Yeah, I know. I should look him up. I want to see what he's up to.
Well, thanks for the story or the information.
Yes.
I definitely do feel like I'm going to be doing more research because I know it's an issue, and I feel bad that I don't know as much.
Next time I'll do a better job of letting you know what my topic will be. So if you want to
Not
add
look
something
like
to it,
Uh-huh.
you can look ahead.
Awesome.
All right, Natalie, you're up.
I am up. So, got good Reddit stories. We have some homeless awareness and right now I'm bringing you guys a little bit of history. So I did some research on ancient Egypt, and I was trying to find out what kind of criminal activity they had going on there in the day. So I guess I'll just dive right in. Overall, Egyptians were law-abiding citizens, and it was probably because there were really extreme consequences of any wrongdoing. And it's interesting because we as a democracy believe, innocent until proven guilty. They believed guilty until proven innocent. Yeah. Domestic abuse, divorce, and infidelity were issues that were taken to court. What is cool is that women were able to bring lawsuits to the court just as easily as men.
Nice.
For the most part. The source that I was looking at, however, says that if women got in trouble for infidelity, they would either have to get divorced or as well as an amputation of her nose or burning to death. A man.
Wait, I'm sorry. She would have to get divorced and be burned to death?
Yeah.
She couldn't just be burned to death. They had to make sure the divorce was official.
It needs to be legal, Maya.
Okay. Yeah.
If a man got into trouble for infidelity, he would receive up to 1,000 blows, but not face the death penalty.
Wow.
Doesn't sound
See,
like
and I was about to say, I was like, it's awesome that they could both equally bring issues to court, but also with the women, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they were, but maybe they aren't. Were they taken as seriously as the men who brought them to court?
It's definitely an interesting question. If there's an Egyptologist out there, I would love to hear some more about this illegal activity and things like that, because I definitely had a lot of questions rising up, like how gendered was everyone and what the rules were for that. So anyways, continuing on, when someone gets accused of something and is taken to court, they are forever branded as a disgrace among the community, even if they were proven innocent. Yeah.
Man.
So, in a way, it's kind of, I guess, like a criminal record. Although sometimes you can get that taken off, right? You can get that.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Can't you
expunged?
Yes. Yeah.
That's
and all charges were dropped, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, man, this
ain't
it. Because of the repercussions on the lives of the innocent and the fact that the judicial system was built on the idea that their divine forces were the guides to justice, the punishment for false claims were very severe because they were obviously very, what would you say, committed to this judicial system. They were very committed to their gods, and it was their leader who would really be the judge in this instance, and they believe that their leaders are divine figures.
Mm-hmm.
So if they happen to be wrong, then what does the judicial system look like, and what does their religion look like? Not good. So the repercussions for false claims were severe. Witnesses were physically abused to make sure they were telling the truth.
Oh my God.
And punishments could be anything from amputations to drowning to death. Other crimes in ancient Egypt include rape, murder, mass theft, or tomb robbing. This one's an interesting one. Men who raped would be castrated or have their penis amputated.
Makes sense. I don't see why. I mean, I think that
makes sense for sure. Can you imagine if we had that?
Oh my God. Those numbers would be dropping.
Children who killed their parents would get tortured. They could be cut into pieces. No. Sorry. They would cut pieces of the children's flesh out and let them die on a burning bed of thorns. But the parents who killed their children would just have to hold their dead child for 3 days. Interesting?
Yeah.
Sounds bogus to me.
So there's one last point.
Okay.
The downfall of their judicial system had a lot to do with the internal corruption because of power and greed. So officers would get bribed, and there were a lot of cover-ups. And
never would have seen that coming.
Yeah. And honestly, if you think about it, it kind of sounds like our system today. Lots of sketchy stuff happening behind the scenes. But it is interesting I loved researching it and reading it. I thought it was so fascinating.
I think it's funny because when we think of like ancient civilizations, we don't normally like, especially when I think of ancient Egypt, I think, like pharaohs, and I think of them as like monarchs and royalty, you know?
Right.
So in my mind, like, I don't see a police car going through ancient Egypt, rounding up the bad guys. But I guess, yeah, there is crime. And I guess there would be, and then like, I guess I'm thinking of like movies where they would have like guards and stuff, but not like police. But it sounds like they basically had policemen.
Yeah, that's what that's what the article would say, and I'll link the article in the show notes. But the article was basically calling them officers. So
I would love to see like if they had a uniform, what it looked like.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I would not want to commit a crime in Egypt for sure.
No, definitely not. It doesn't sound like it.
That's one of the things that I always get scared of if I ever think of like time travel. If I were to be plopped in an ancient culture, what if I did something that I was absolutely not supposed to do? I had no idea. Like I'd be dead.
Yeah. We never know. I think the parent thing is throwing me off though. Everything else sounds like, is it extreme? Yes. But do I understand? But the parent thing is throwing me off because I feel like, killing anyone either way is awful. But to kill a child and then the parent just has to hold them in their arms for 3 days. They killed that child. I don't know. I'm sure most parents who would kill their child, I would hope, feel some sort of guilt. So yeah, I guess that in a way it's a punishment. But there was also a motive.
Yeah.
So no other punishment but to hold your child?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maya says not extreme enough.
I just mean in comparison to the child killing, to have pieces of their flesh cut. And some of these are very interesting. The fact that there must be a divorce before we burn you to death. And also, we must cut out pieces of your flesh and then we'll put you on a burning bed of thorns instead of just one or the other. They had a system.
They did. They had a system.
Apparently.
Do you have any thoughts? No?
No.
You've been so quiet today.
You've been very quiet.
I don't know. It's been more like fun facts,
Yeah.
I feel.
It's been fun for sure. Yeah. I really like hearing all the interesting tales.
I love to learn.
I love to learn. But anyways, that was my ancient Egypt fun facts.
I love it.
Yeah.
History. Let's go.
Fascinating history. So now you guys have a bunch of fun facts that you can go tell people. Just
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Icebreakers. You trying to look smart, whatever. Anyways, Justin, I think we still have some more time if you want to tell us your last thing.
So, over time, since around, I think, the 60s, the ability for police departments to solve violent crimes has only gone down. So you would think that over time, our law enforcement would get better at figuring it out with breakthroughs in DNA evidence and technology, but that's not the case.
That's wonderful.
Violent crimes have been going down. Now,
violent crimes have been going down?
I said that wrong. The clearance for violent crimes has been going down.
I see.
Should have been more.
These criminals keep getting smarter and smarter, I guess.
So some of the possible explanations, some people say that the numbers the police departments were giving in the 60s were just bogus.
Oh.
Just bogus numbers that they were throwing out. And this is just an idea.
Corruption.
A little bit of corruption. Like, oh yeah, our police department, yeah, we solve all of them. We're just so good at what we do. Another...
Wait, I'd like to point something out, is that I feel like maybe too, before maybe domestic abuse wasn't talked about as much as it is now. So maybe people weren't reporting it enough. I don't know. Could be.
You're saying the 60s?
Mm-hmm.
So like right around before the civil rights movement really started. So that's such a good point. So many different things that they probably weren't taking seriously, or things weren't being said, or that's so true.
Yeah.
My God. Okay, sorry. Continue.
Now, Other people have pointed out that over that I forget which year it was, but the enactment of the Miranda rights law that lets people know, and its popularity letting people know that when you are in police custody, you're not required to answer any of their questions or say anything at all. I mean, we've all watched crime shows where the lawyer gets mad because the person that they're trying to defend won't shut their mouth because, like they say, anything you say can and will be used against you.
Yeah.
And they'll try and twist it however. Speaking is only going to ruin your chances. Never, ever does it make it better. So people say that that's one of the reasons it's been going down.
That makes sense too.
Third, guns. They think that guns are harder to figure out. Because before, in the past, in the 60s, you get a house call, you run into the house, there's a dude holding a knife, he's covered in blood, and the other person is on the ground, stabbed, and you kind of just put it together. In the day and age of guns, you shoot, you run, and you try to be gone as quickly as possible. Especially there's, no evidence on the person who committed the crime, really, except for the weapon, but they can hide that. So they say that part of the reason it's been going down is because guns are a more covert way of committing violent crimes.
Makes sense.
Doesn't? I don't get it. I mean, a stab, you don't hear a stab. You hear unless you're in Psycho and you hear that.
I think part of it is the speed, though. You know what I mean?
It's the speed, the ability to get in, get out.
Stab, run, shoot,
Nope.
run.
I remember, I don't know. Can you imagine stabbing someone, but they're still alive enough to call 911 or scream for help, but you shoot someone, bam, they can't say anything. We're getting way too graphic.
But yeah, that's what they're saying. And then, what is it? Another one. Higher standards for evidence from, judges and DAs. So before, it took less evidence to convict somebody than it does today. So that's another reason that they're speculating that the numbers are going down. Another one is fewer and overextended police officers. So they're saying that as time has gone on, less people in relation to the amount of crimes want to be police officers.
Oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which means they have less manpower to solve crimes.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward there.
That totally makes sense.
We could probably talk about why not so many people want to join the police force these days.
I'm sure everyone can guess, probably. There's social issues that I'm sure people want to avoid, but then there's also, it's more dangerous.
I think a large portion of it is also people are starting to have less support for the laws that they would be required to enforce.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's a whole movement, whether you're part of it or not, we all know about it, where people are practically anti-police as a whole. So, yeah, it's less revered. And then finally, and most controversially, they say that part of the reason that the violent crime clearance rate has been going down is because of racism. Depending on who you ask, it's a whole mess of things as race-related issues seem to go. But some people speculate that you have white police officers trying to solve crimes for black individuals, and the white police officers don't do as good of a job tracking those crimes as much as they do for white people.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side of the spectrum, just so that both voices are heard, they say that the relations between black individuals and police has been going down, or has always been bad. Black individuals have never had good relations with police officers and police departments, which makes it very difficult to solve those crimes, because when a police officer goes into a black community and needs to ask questions to try and solve a case, because of the lack of trust there, the police officers have much less luck finding information that could help them solve the cases.
That's interesting. Yeah. So many factors. Definitely, yes. You mentioned some that as soon as you said them, I was like, oh yeah, like that's so true. But I definitely wasn't thinking of those before. My mind was definitely more on the fact that since the 60s, we've had the, civil rights movement. Well, before the 60s it started, and then I'm sure before then, Black people were taken seriously, so their crimes, maybe there were fewer reports that didn't have to be cleared because they just wouldn't process them.
Yeah, like,
for sure. Is my assumption. And then same. What did you say?
I said that 60s and before. I mean, women were highly domesticated, probably silenced, oppressed. So probably not a lot of reports on domestic abuse as there are now.
Yeah, and kind of with the race thing, it's like the show we just watched recently about Dahmer, who targeted individuals of a group of people, specifically Black and homosexual, to have cops not care about those cases whatsoever, so that he could continue to.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dahmer was doing it intentionally.
He totally. I mean, at some points, I felt like he was definitely using his whiteness to hide himself.
Yeah, well, it helped him be successful.
Yeah.
Whether or not he was targeting specific groups of people, knowing that it would decrease his chances of being caught, or if it just worked out that way, I'm not sure, but that shows one thing. But according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, only 42% of violent crime is even reported to authorities.
Wait, say that percentage again?
Only 42% of violent crime is reported to authorities in the first place. And of that 42%, only 46% of the cases are cleared.
Sorry, when was that statistic taken? What do you know what year?
I'm not sure.
Well, dang.
But
that's
learning lots of interesting things today.
So, yes.
Some pretty crazy things.
Put that together, though, less than a quarter.
I was about to say, like a quarter, yeah.
Of violent crimes are cleared.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Makes me feel very safe.
What was the, we were watching Cold Cases, and what was the statistic on that? That, like, do you remember?
Only like 3% of cold cases ever get solved.
Yeah, something like that. It was highly low.
It was like
highly low.
Somewhere between 1 and 3, but.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, but as we know from the 60s, those numbers are fudged anyways.
Yeah, so. You guys, please. Well, I think that's it for today. So don't forget to find us on Patreon. You can support us there. Also follow us on social media. We're on Instagram and Twitter and
YouTube.
And YouTube, yes, thank you. And you can follow us on YouTube, subscribe. That's where we have our full-length videos where I don't cut out as much because of things.
I'm really scared for that because I feel like we took a lot of pauses.
We took a lot of pauses. We will totally get better though.
Yeah, trust us. We're gonna improve so much. We're gonna be so
professional in like a year.
Pros.
Yes.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. So thank you, everyone. Please support the show, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.